MPL Philippines Week 3 Day 1 literally just finished. Actually, not even. As I'm speaking and recording this right now, the live stream of MPL PH is still going on. But Omega Esports versus ONIC Philippines just ended. And so, in this video, we are going to review the craziest series of MPL Philippines Season 9 so far. We're going to start with game number 1 here in the draft, Omega versus ONIC. Looking at the picks, Omega, of course, with the Selena Open, immediately going to pick it up as their first pick because it is a comfort pick there for, not for Baloyski, but for E2 Max. And along with that, later on, they're going to pick up the Grok. These two were a great combo together in shutting down the Natalia that was picked up by ONIC PH for Baloyski. Of course, it's a signature Natalia pick, so it's a signature pick face-off between E2 Max and Baloyski. As you're gonna see, or as you saw in this game, Baloyski had a difficult time positioning and making the most out of what a Natalia can do because of the constant traps that were placed around by E2 Max perfectly. He seemed to have a good sense and a good read of where Baloyski would want to go. So Baloyski would step on abyssal arrows or abyssal traps, leaving him open for abyssal arrows or giving Omega information that the Natalia was nearby. And almost always, Chaknu was also nearby to just help pressure down the Natalia. Of course, damage coming in from the Selena alongside the Grok, fully charged power of nature, will hurt any Natalia player. It was actually also a very interesting draft on the side of ONIC PH because they don't have a marksman. Their main late game scaling, in a sense, is actually going to be the Farsa. Technically the Hayabusa, because Hayabusa, if he can single out one target, can dish out a lot of damage with a shadow kill. But of course, in the late game, we all know teams are already roaming around together. That's going to be very difficult to pull off. But Kyrie was able to pull it off a few times. But ultimately, because of how the draft was laid out, because of Omega having that late game insurance policy in the Beatrix, and the fact that they were able to control the potential of the ONIC lineup, which is, of course, Natalia just completely stopping any momentum on the side of Omega because he's going to be picking off everyone. Baloyski is going to be picking off everyone. ONIC just could not find a foothold in this, and we're going to review certain plays in the game that showed how Omega took control of game number 1. We're going to start in this moment within the first minute of game number 1. As you can see on the map, you'll see the Natalia moving to a shrub, and that shrub actually has an abyssal arrow on it. So at this point, as you can see, Natalia was already spotted. Baloyski was already spotted. He already stepped on a trap, meaning Ryzen and E2 Max had the info that the Natalia was there. And if they're feeling it, which at this point, Ryzen already level 2 has access to 2 abilities, he'll be able to chase down that Natalia. Good chance that he'll be able to chase down that Natalia. You see the damage ticking on Baloyski's health, and by the time the camera pans on over, Baloyski gets taken down early. Not so bad, but that was just a teaser of things to come for Baloyski and ONIC Philippines. Now we're gonna look at this sequence here. It's gonna be for the second turtle, and you see in the mid lane there's already action. Kyrie couldn't take down E2 Max, but Omega were able to take the second turtle of the game. Delarski moved back, Baloyski moved back, and they TP, but Ryzen and Renjo would stay here. Delarski would actually decide to stay, seeing as how, he didn't need to go back, he got his health back, and Kyrie almost got picked off there. So the jungler gets forced back in this situation, but Kyrie still coming back, but still got away. But then Ryzen with the chase being able to reset those punctures so that he'll have the dashes. So at the same time, Omega gets a turtle, a kill on the jungler, and the purple buff of the jungler as well. So that was a massive win for Omega. And by the way, that was such a beautiful sequence with Hatred, Kyrie, and Ryzen dashing in and out together. Ryzen dashing as well. And look at that. E2 Max also ended that whole thing with a big kill. Now, I decided to freeze the frame here because I want us to look at Chaknu and E2 Max. It's not super clear right now, or maybe in post-editing magic I'll try to make it clear. But E2 Max is actually rocking roam boots with a dire hit alongside Chaknu. So they actually both have dire hits, meaning that there's a good chance they'll be able to deal a crazy amount of burst damage if they catch out the Natalia or whoever they can catch out together. This is why this Grok and the Selena combo were so lethal. The Selena, yes, rocking the Roam Boots, is still gonna be building those magic damage items. At around 607, Itomax picked up the Clock of Destiny, meaning he'll finally be able to start the scaling there. Chakno, of course, will be rocking defensive items, but he'll be able to deal a fair amount of damage alongside great crowd control, especially with the Wild Charge. So whoever Itomax arrows and slows down buys time for Chakno to also knock them up with his ultimate, and they'll be able to deal damage together. The fact that they both have dire hits means, again, great source of burst damage. So this would be a very difficult game for Baloyski and his Natalia to actually maneuver and get some good momentum, great info going, because those two, if he runs to them in a bad situation, will get absolutely destroyed. And as you can see here at this point of the game, Omega would actually be able to get the third turtle for free because of Renzo and Chaknu absolutely pressuring Kyrie, not allowing him to get that purple buff that, of course, a Hayabusa also needs to shine. Not the super purple buff dependent, but those crazy Hayabusa plays, he'll need that purple buff. So there would actually be a fight for this purple buff, and it would even be taken away, if I'm not mistaken, taken away by Ryzen. I'm trying to look for Kyrie in the map. Yeah, he doesn't have his purple buff, so another big win for Omega. They are still forcing Kyrie, they steal his buff, and they steal a turtle again. And see, you can see just how confident Omega were at this point in the game. 8 minutes and 50 seconds, another purple buff steal. Kyrie cannot get close. Baloyski's in position, but because of the gold deficit, it's going to be really hard for them, ONIC, to actually make a play. Baloyski is able to hunt down E2Max, but at this point, it's not going to be a super massive loss for Omega Esports. They still mostly have control of the map. They've broken down all the first tier towers. They have a 4k gold lead. Even if ONIC were positioning around this Lord, ONIC knows they cannot take this Lord. They also have Kelra's Beatrix, well farmed up, hasn't been taken down yet. He's level 11, Marky's level 10, not that big of a difference. So Omega, we're still very comfortable at this point in the game. This wasn't all Omega though. You can see ONIC already have a few kills at this point. Still don't have a lot of map control, but they're fighting. They can still make things happen. Baloyski was actually able to pick off Kelra there after a small engagement, and you'd see ONIC go in for the chase here, but they knew they have to think twice. Delarski, the Yuzong, is like their main frontliner in a sense, but he's not like a tank like other tanks. Yes, he can sustain himself with a lot of lifesteal. He can deal some really amazing damage, but ONIC knew they had to play it safe. And as you can see here, again, the beauty and the power of the Demon Slayer emblem, why it's becoming a favored emblem for a lot of these teams. See how fast Ryzen was able to deal a lot of damage on that Lord before Omega decided to help him. And good decision by Omega to block off any potential steal attempts there. They were able to block that flame shot. Omega are just doing a really great job at this point to just keep their lead going, to keep their momentum going. And because of all the buff steals they had on Kyrie, and Kyrie being behind, it's going to be hard for him to maneuver because of all the control that Omega had in the map. Of course, Kyrie would also be relegated to helping clear out the minion waves, so it would alleviate a bit of the pressure. So ONIC were getting kills, yes, but Omega were the ones able to convert kills to objectives far better, and were able to convert that to a lot of map control. And look, because of their placement, because of their familiarity of where Natalius would want to go as well, they were able to pick off Baloyski again there in the mid lane. Later on, with Omega still in control, they'd make an attempt at the mid lane to break down the middle tower. Once you see that dragon flying, of course, Omega will be running away. Baloyski made the most out of the situation, trying to hunt down Kelra. He was able to come in, deal a bit of damage, go out, and then there, he takes down Kelra. So taking down the marksman at this point for ONIC is really good because you stop any potential pushes that Omega want to do. It becomes a big trade. 2 for 3 trade, which Omega won, but ONIC were very happy with what happened because they got to delay what Omega wanted to do, which is to continue pressuring the map or even take down that middle turret for ONIC. But Ryzen and Chaknu, I'm not sure whose call this was. This was a great call by these two to attempt and steal the orange buff away of Kyrie, which of course he was able to do. And there, I accidentally clicked something, so there's Manjin and Leo. Let's zoom in on Manjin's face. And at this point, Omega were able to comfortably get the Lord as well. Great zone out by Chaknu. The Abyssal Arrow being tossed out is great zoning as well. Chaknu even put up the barrier, and again, this point, of course, Omega will be able to take that Lord incredibly quickly. They have the Demon Slayer emblem, but at the same time, a lot of damage coming up from their side, also specifically from Kelra's Matrix. And here, as the Lord was marching down mid lane, Baloyski would try to take out Kelra. Not a bad call, because if he got to take down Kelra, it'd be massive for the defense of ONIC PH. But Omega were just able to control and burst him down and take down that Natalia fast enough so that Kelra would survive. Lord marching down mid, ONIC PH would try to defend, but it'll be way too difficult at this point. A lot of damage coming out from Omega. Omega takes game number 1. Okay, so game number 2, we're going to go 4 minutes and 37 seconds in. At this point, Omega had already captured the first turtle of the game. Not much has happened. It is a very slow-paced, very methodical approach by these two teams. We're not going to analyze the draft too much, but we'll take a look at some of the key pieces. We'll take a look at some of the key pieces here on the side of Omega. Specifically, the first one, the Veil on the hands of Itomax paired up with Chaknu. So once again, Chaknu and Itomax get a great combo as the position 5 and the position 4 together that has very strong pick-off capabilities and very strong team fighting capabilities. So Chaknu can even set up 3 or 4, maybe even 5 for Itomax to burst down with this Windstorm on the Veil. It's a very powerful combo for pick-offs. And you see Ryzen again packing the Demon Slayer emblem, this time on the Ling, who, by the way, at this point in the season has not gotten a win yet. I had to double check that. He already about had 1 win, by the way. And I want to highlight those two because at certain moments, Chakno and Itomax would really prove to be a thorn on the side of ONIC PH because, again, of their strong capabilities of hunting down, setting up, and damaging together. You see their Chakno at the bottom of your screen flying out and being able to catch Baloyski just on time as he was leaving the bush. Of course, Baloyski positioning himself there to get information for ONIC PH, but Chakno was able to catch him with the Tyrant's Revenge, Rage, and just everything in between for safety. They're able to take down Baloyski, and that would be a trend for this matchup. And because of that play, Omega also got to secure the second turtle of the match. Now, earlier, there was a sign for things to come in within the first minute with Baloyski getting spotted out and taken down early on by Omega. In this game, look at this. The snipe from Marky, which is this game's sign for things to come, but it's not something we wouldn't see come to fruition until the very end of the game, because in the end, Marky will pull off some insane things to make sure ONIC won this match. This sequence here is important for ONIC PH. They got to pick off Itomax, but without the Veil to hold down the mid lane, and since Chaknu and Keller are down here trying to take down Baloyski, ONIC PH will be able to take the first mid lane turret. So that gives him an advantage in terms of being able to go into the jungle for Omega. But of course, Omega, right before ONIC was able to take down the mid lane tower, they were also able to take down the top lane tower with Ryzen and Renjo working together to take it down. Of course, as a Ling, you're very great with the split pushing, so that's a good trade for Omega, but not entirely, because again, I'm in that belief, I'm in that camp that the mid lane turret is the most important turret in the game because it just determines a lot of the tempo, a lot of the control that teams may have or can have, depending if that turret is up or not. By the way, cheeky attempt there by Chaknu to try and get a pick off, but here comes the ONIC PH counterplay. They'll be able to take down Chaknu, but Omega gets the bottom turret and the turtle as well. So in the end, with just the tank going down, that's going to be a big win for Omega. A little later on, you see here ONIC PH still holding on to that mid lane tower, but watch Chakno and Itomax. Chakno goes in, but look at Itomax. Perfect. Gets the knock-up, gets the massive burst, getting a double kill. And Omega, with this, will be able to find a big opening to finally take down that mid lane turret. And of course, ONIC PH doing what they can, traded that out as well. So right now, because with both mid lane towers down, ONIC weren't able to capitalize on it so much. Now it's Omega with control of the game again because they have the gold lead. Their positioning in the map favors them. No mid lane turrets on both sides, but right now this is a good position for Omega. At this point, Omega already got the Lord, and you can see it marching in the top lane. But Itomax, taken down greatly by Delarski, gets picked off by Kyrie in the back line. Big ninja play there by Kyrie, and this was ONIC showing that they are still in this. Yes, Kyrie's getting invaded in his jungle. Yes, the Lord went to the side of Omega. Yeah, Delarski was almost picked off there, but look at them. Look at this. The grit on ONIC PH to still try to get some kills. But by the way, that was such a fantastic play by Ryzen to use the Tempest of Blades just in time so that he is able to avoid the damage from the shadow kill. He takes a lot of it, but he was able to use it just in time to avoid the last few slashes that would have taken him down. And at the same time, Omega were also able to get a kill onto Hatred with that. They have the Lord marching top lane. They're stealing, they're not stealing the orange side jungle, but right now Omega are still, again, in the lead, still sieging. Kellera even got to take down the mid lane, so this is going to be ONIC PH on defensive mode for a very, very long time. Now, this is a crucial moment in the game and potentially the play that saved it for ONIC PH. Omega were defending this Lord very well. ONIC PH backs off a bit, but Hatred, look at Hatred. The patience to not move, to not help, knowing that he can do this. Stealing the Lord away. Yes, he got taken out. He gets taken out. The members of ONIC get chased down. Marky got taken out, but that saves it for ONIC because that eventually bought so much time. Two members of ONIC PH were down, but those are members that will be able to minion wave clear. Specifically this guy, Delarski. Bursting down Itomax was such a big play. The Lord marching out. They got to stop the pushes. They keep all their inhibitors and they still go for the chase. By the way, look at Chakno here. Bang! What a play to catch them both. ONIC PH, yes, it looks dire for them. But again, the fact that the Lord was taken by ONIC PH, by Hatred saving the game, well, yeah, it literally saved the game. But let's just look at this play real quick again by Chaknu. As you're going to see here, Baloyski is still locked in onto Kellera with the circling eagle. So he's going to be going there. Chaknu sees Kyrie, sees Baloyski. At this point, he'll be happy if he hits anyone. Of course, but he'll be happy if he'll be able to save Kellera. Chaknu loads it up, and just as Delarski enters, he uses his dash to go in. The dash along with a hit. He's right on top or right beside Baloyski and right within the range of the Kufra to get hit by the Tyrant's Revenge knockup. They go airborne and they get taken out. But yes, again, as I'm saying, looks horrible for ONIC PH, but they'd be able to hold on. Another crucial moment and what really helped solidify ONIC PH's comeback in this game. Chakno would charge up Tyrant's Revenge to go into the mid lane. Of course, he's okay. He's getting the info. But Omega, the members of Omega are there to help follow up. And look at Itomax. He'll be able to get massive knockups there with the Windstorm. But the members of ONIC PH were able to avoid the crazy amounts of damage that would befall them. Marky, just in time, got Nibiru's Passion off to keep off Ryzen at bay. And of course, Ryzen already used Tempest of Blades, so it'll be too risky for him to go for the chase. Kyrie even got to pick off Chaknu. Sorry for that loading screen. Kyrie even got to pick off Chaknu, but it was a trade. It was Chaknu and Baloyski going down, but it was also Kyrie and Ryzen going down. So with both junglers down, both sides losing two, it was a very even trade. It was a very good thing that ONIC PH were at least able to get Ryzen down because that buys them even more time. As ONIC and Omega were both fighting for this Lord, 16 minutes and 40 seconds in. First one who's going to go down here, if I'm not mistaken, was Renjo. Yeah, he gets picked off there coming from mid. ONIC were positioned in the mid lane shrub. Kari was able to just help finish him off. Baloyski, good thing he was able to survive there. Kari's getting chased, but Baloyski saves Kari in time. Guiding Wind to make sure he gets out of there. Itomax and Renjo went down. Delarski went down, but because he was able to chase down and take down Itomax. If I'm not mistaken, ONIC PH would also secure this Lord, or... well, let's not. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, there was an attempt there on Baloyski. Baloyski gets taken out, but that was an unfortunate trade there for ONIC PH because ONIC were able to avoid specific abilities where they were able to dodge damage and deal damage. And yes, they are the ones who are going to be able to secure this Lord. And here we are, the moment to end it all. With the last Lord, the Lord before this, ONIC PH were able to destroy 2 inhibitors. Marky gets a snipe there onto Ryzen, which was big because that will force him back. He'll also get more snipes later on, if I'm not mistaken. But now at this point, ONIC PH are starting off the Lord. Ryzen wanted to recall, but he thought twice about it. Lord got reset. Look at the positioning of Hatred. Pretty much the same position that he was in when he stole the Lord. So he'll be like the X Factor. Marky, watch out where Marky is. He's there in the mid lane, moving around with ONIC PH. They're even going to go for the purple buff. So yeah, this is going to be a long one. They're both going to reset their positions here, but ONIC knew that they needed to get this purple buff because, again, they're up against a Ling. It would greatly help them for this Lord take. The sequence is still going on. Omega are still positioned well enough to contest this Lord if it does show up. Ryzen will go back to the base to quickly heal, but he'll be able to get there quickly, and ONIC aren't taking down this Lord super fast. Here comes the members of ONIC PH. Marky got a snipe there onto Itomax, which was crucial because he had to think twice about getting too close. You see him positioning himself a bit far back, and the Lord really close. At this point, anyone could have taken it. Omega could have taken this Lord. Renjo gets taken out, but watch Marky. Bam! Just in time with the Nibiru's passion. And Marky is going to be dancing around here. He has Wind Chant up, or he had Wind Chant up. That's why he was able to avoid the physical damage that Omega can deal, and they chase down Chaknu. One more play to solidify this win for ONIC PH, but we won't need to stop it. At this point, yeah, Omega have lost the match. Cooldown timers way too long. 2 minions, the Lord, and Marky added the final nail in the coffin, the snipe on to Itomax. Now, this is going to be a point of contention, or maybe it won't be for so long. There is a thought wherein, or a question rather, if Marky knew that Itomax was there, or was it like pro gamer sense to find Itomax with the snipe? Because at this point, if you look closely in the map, Itomax is just about to enter the shrub. And when he was on the way to going to the shrub, you can see there, he cleared the mid minion wave. In the map, what the ONIC players would have seen is the Veil moving back and moving to the right. Now, you can assume he's there, but of course, moving back and then moving slightly right, that Veil would have still been in the view of the minions. Yeah, it would have been a good guess that the Veil was there. You'll see him move up and then he'll move back. Question is if in this moment, was there a chance that ONIC saw Veil going back into that shrub? Because there are still minion waves here in the mid. Who knows? Who knows? Or maybe we'll find out if we ask Marky. But, of course, it would be equally impressive and also equally believable if it's also just pro gamer sense from Marky, you know, just for safety. Because as a pro player, you're very familiar with the key areas where players want to position themselves in a defensive scenario. And of course, as a Veil, If ONIC didn't check that, there might have been a chance where while Delarski, Marky, and Hatred were trying to just end the game, what if they were caught off in an unfortunate scenario where they'd all get crowd control and bursted down by E2 Max's Veil? That would have been possible. Of course, we didn't see that happen as Marky, with either pro gamer sense or with information, got to snipe down E2 Max in that shrub. ONIC PH takes game number 2. I'm not gonna go through the entire game 3. We're gonna go here to this moment. At this point of the game, ONIC Philippines have destroyed 7 towers over Omega's 1. They had just secured the Lord. Let's look at this. First damage coming out from everyone. You see here, Delarski. Or no, wait, no, that's not Delarski. I mean, E2 Max tries to go in for the combo. He gets controlled and he'll get bursted down. So right now for ONIC Philippines, it does really look like the win scenario for them. But watch Ryzen, nowhere near the fight, because in case this will go sour, he will need to cut the minion wave there in the mid lane. This would be the attempt of ONIC. See them getting it down real close. Just gonna be one hit away, but Kelra is getting multiple kills, triple kills, Maniac, and even the moments of victory screen showed up. Ryzen, the reason why he was positioning so far away was because a few plays earlier, the same thing happened. It was just Kelra and Ryzen left in the map. ONIC could have ended it, but Ryzen decided to cut the minion wave. That's why Ryzen was far off and waiting for his chance to come back just in case. And Ryzen came in just in time to help clean up. We're going to replay that sequence again because we're going to really have to dissect everything that happened here. See here at this point, E2 Max is down. Kyrie had his immortality popped. Renjo is going to be the guy controlling Kyrie here, of course, with Ring of Punishment. Is going to help slow down Kyrie. Kelra is also here just in case he needs to damage Kyrie, in case he needs to clear this minion wave. But right now, he has many options. He can either help take down this Lord, and looking at his basic attacks, he's helping taking down Kyrie. He's also helping take down Hatred. Temps of Blades will get popped here by Ryzen. Delarski and Marky are just focusing on the base. And the Lord be able to get swipes in, but at this time, look at Kelra, already a double kill, still holding on. Omega, Renjo, really, and Ryzen doing everything they can to stop Kyrie, because they know if that Aulus can get close, get those basic attacks, it'll be over. That Aulus will absolutely shred that tower down quickly. Even Kyrie popped up the Winter Truncheon just in case. What if after this Winter Truncheon, he could get just close enough to get a swipe in, but it really doesn't look like that. Just a few more hits. The Lord holding on. Kelra. Bang. Taking down, or help taking down Delarski. Of course, Renjo on the high loss would take down Kyrie. Lord taken out. Triple kill and Maniac. And this was smart here by Renjo. Watch what he's going to do. That's just a few hits. Renjo just helps track back, clear that minion wave. No moment of victory for ONIC PH, because eventually Omega will not be able to defend. It's just Baloyski on that glue. This is gonna be super difficult for him to stop it, and he's not going. As you can see here, he's not trying to take down Kelra. What he did was, he actually tried to stop the siege minion from entering. Siege minion, that is out of range. Baloyski stopped the siege minion from coming in. But look at this one pesky melee minion still alive, within range. And that is why Omega were able to close that out. People are probably thinking, Baloyski should have gone for Kelra, taken him out of range. But there are two other members of Omega there. They're gonna, and if he doesn't stop that siege minion, the siege minion will be attacking the base. And at the same time, there's no insurance that he'll be able to take down Keller just in time, because if even he gets grabbed, he'll still be able to basic attack. So, Baloyski actually did the right thing, going for that siege minion. It didn't get in range, but that one melee minion did. And that was enough for Omega to end the game. What a series by these two teams. And you see the beauty of on-site friendly banters from the two teams. What a series from Omega and ONIC. There you have it. What did you think of that series? Comment down below your thoughts on Omega versus ONIC. Is this Omega's time to come back and finally get the ball rolling on their momentum? Because before this, they hadn't even won a single game. In game number 1, they finally got rid of that curse. By the end of game number 2, there was a feeling, there was a thought, and even near the closing moments of game number 3, that Omega would only get 1 point out of this. But they held on. They were able to get the victory. Is this the Omega momentum finally activated and on for them to get more points and rack more wins? What do you think about ONIC PH? This was a fantastic performance. Games 2 and 3 for ONIC PH, just great. And it looked like they were going to continue their momentum from week number 2, where they got a very definitive 2-0 win, a dominant one at that. And then for week number 3, we thought they'd continue it. Yeah, they dropped a point, but it really looked like they were going to win the series. What do you think of ONIC PH? Personally, ONIC PH, again, it was a great game for them. It wasn't a bad game. It wasn't a bad series from any of these two teams. They played peak MLBB. A lot of the people in social media were saying, yeah, dude, this is grand finals worthy. It had that hype. It had that feel. And it showed. If you didn't watch that, you can catch the official VODs replays over on these official pages and channels for MLBB Esports, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, MPL Philippines. You can watch all the official replays, content related to MPL Philippines there. Once again, my name is Renmar, analyst for MPL Philippines, and I realized I actually didn't introduce myself at the top of this video, but now I will, as I say goodbye, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.